Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you on a grey, miserable Monday morning, the day after Arsenal's 0-0 draw at Leeds at Ellen Road. Apologies, first of all, that I didn't do my usual player ratings video from Ellen Road. I just ran out of time, basically. There was so much to do. Getting my piece online after the match, also did a press conference with Mikel Arteta, and by the time that was all finished, we were very close to being kicked out of Ellen Road, and I wasn't going to have time to do the usual ratings, so apologies for that. To be honest, there wouldn't have been many great ratings given the performance from Arsenal players, but I will try and do one when Arsenal are back in action again on Thursday night against Molde in the Europa League. But I thought I'd just come on, talk a little bit about that game, especially as I didn't do that usual video from Ellen Road. Talk a little bit about the game, the big talking points, obviously that thing behind me on the TV being the biggest of talking points, the red card for Nicolas Pepe after VAR decision when Anthony Taylor went to the screen and took a look at it, and I will get on to that very, very soon. The game itself, taking the red card out of it, Arsenal weren't great. It's pretty turgid stuff from Arsenal once again, really struggling in an attacking sense. Big problems for Mikel Arteta, something he's going to have to solve. I will talk about that later on in the video as well, but it was just another example yesterday of the troubles that Arsenal are facing when it comes to scoring goals, creating chances, and just causing teams problems, because they must be very easy to play against at the moment. Pretty fortunate to come away with a point. It was a good battling point in the end, especially considering they played with 10 men for so long, so they certainly deserve a lot of credit for that. They hung in there, they fought in the second half, they rode their luck certainly at times, with Leeds hitting the woodwork 3 times. Leno made some good saves, but they stuck to their guns. They didn't sort of go into the shells after the red card, and they could have won it as well. Saka, who was very good after he came on last night, going through 1-1, should have scored. The keeper made a good save, so Arsenal could have won it. It would have been a real smash and grab had they won it, and Leeds could have certainly felt very hard done by, but there was a big chance. He didn't take it, unfortunately, and Arsenal had to settle for a 0-0 draw, so they've only got 4 points, Arsenal, for their last 5 games in the Premier League. They haven't scored in 4 of those. The only goal coming from the penalty spot during that time. It's nearly 8 hours since Arsenal scored in open play, so real issues for Mikel Arteta to solve, and I will talk about that a little bit more in this video. But first of all, let's get on to the big incident, the big talking point, Nicolas Pepe getting himself sent off yesterday. That's exactly what he did. He got himself sent off. Yes, the Leeds player made a meal of it. Yes, he wound him up, but Pepe bit. He took the bait, and it was just a ridiculous thing to do. It was one of those moments when you see the replay and you're just like, oh, what have you done, Nico? What have you done? And it was just such a shame, because you felt it was a really big opportunity. I wrote about this after the game. I'll drop the story into the description box below if you haven't seen it yet. It was a massive opportunity for Nicolas Pepe to spend the international break talking publicly about how he wanted more chances, he wanted to start. So Mikel Arteta gave him the start yesterday, and it was a really big opportunity, and he threw it away with a really idiotic thing to do that only he can explain why he did it. He clearly got wound up, but in these days, especially with VAR, you're always going to get yourself sent off for that. There must have been a moment just before he did it that he thought, hold on, I'm going to get sent off for this if I do it, but he still did it anyway, and it's just, you can't really defend him. Mikel Arteta didn't defend him after the game. He said it was totally unacceptable, and it was. And I've seen some people having a go at Mikel Arteta for that, so no, he threw Pepe under a bus. He didn't throw Pepe under a bus. If anything, Pepe threw Arteta under the bus, because what else is Arteta going to be able to say after an incident like that? You can't come out there and defend your player. You can't, he didn't absolutely destroy him. He just said it was unacceptable, and it's exactly what it was. It was unacceptable. And I'm sure now today they'll sit down at London Colney, they'll talk about it. Nicolas Pepe will give Mikel Arteta his reasons for why he did it, and they'll have a proper discussion. And if Pepe needs his arm put round his shoulder, then Mikel Arteta will certainly do that, because he's the type of manager who will do that. But I think in the aftermath of the game, certainly saying it was an unacceptable thing to do, I'm not going to criticise Mikel Arteta for that at all, because it was an unacceptable thing to do, and he let his teammates down, he let his manager down. And fortunately for Arsenal, they held on and got a point, because they should have gone on and lost that game, given how long they were playing with 10 men. And it's just a long way back for Nicolas Pepe. Now he misses 3 games. Those 3 games are going to be Wolves. He's going to miss the Spurs, the North London derby against Spurs. He's going to miss Burnley. I think the first game back is going to be Southampton on about December the 15th. But given how long Mikel Arteta has waited to give him an opportunity, it just feels like a long way back for Pepe now. You can't see as soon as his ban's over that he's going to come straight back into that side. It's just not going to happen. So, he's going to have to really work hard now to earn the trust of Mikel Arteta again and to get himself back in the starting 11. And yeah, big opportunity wasted for Pepe. It really, really was. And it was just disappointing because I thought he was actually one of Arsenal's brightest players in the first half. And, that's not saying much because Arsenal were pretty poor, but he did some good things, Nicolas Pepe. He was pretty direct. He had a couple of efforts. One, the cross that hit the bar. One, he curled just wide after a good driving run. He sort of showed a little bit of intensity. He showed a willingness to run at his man, which is something Arsenal certainly miss when he's not in the team. And I thought he was one of the brighter players. So it was a shame because the second half, it felt like the game was there to be won still. Arsenal kind of rode their luck before the end of the first half, but it felt like the game was there to be won in the second half. And as soon as he did what he did and got himself sent off, then Arsenal were always going to have their backs to the wall against a team like Leeds with 10 men for that amount of time. So real shame for Arsenal, real shame for Pepe. And it's going to be interesting to see how long it's going to take him now to get another opportunity from Arteta. There has been some racist abuse levelled at Nicolas Pepe and Alioski, the Leeds player who was involved in the incident, who basically suckered Pepe in and got himself sent off. And it was ridiculous the way he went down as well, Alioski. I hope he's pretty ashamed of himself looking at the replays because it didn't look good on him at all. But both players have been subject to, unfortunately, to racist abuse online. Both Leeds and Arsenal and Kick It Out have released a statement condemning the abuse, both calling it vile and saying they're going to be looking for the perpetrators. And really disappointing to see something like that because, yes, Pepe mucked up. But no player deserves any sort of racist abuse online, and hopefully Arsenal and Leeds and the authorities can find out who did that, who posted it, and they can take the necessary action. I just want to talk a little bit about Bukayo Saka. What a player he is. He came on yesterday for, I think it was Joe Willett, wasn't it? Just for a half hour, just before there was the hour mark, and he was Arsenal's best player, and he played for half an hour. He was fantastic down the left-hand side. Him and Tierney got a really good understanding. Like I mentioned, he had that really big chance when he went through. Arsenal just looked miles better when he's in the team. He did get that injury and had to be forced off just before the end. Fingers crossed on Bukayo that is not a bad one. It's a knee problem, Arsenal say. He looked in a lot of pain when it happened. He got helped off the pitch. He did sort of walk and take his seat back amongst the substitutes before full time. Hopefully it was just a big impact injury and it won't keep Bukayo out for too long because Arsenal need him, which is saying something again because you're sort of relying on a kid who's so young. But we just saw it again in that half an hour he was on the pitch yesterday. He makes things happen. He makes Arsenal look a better team. And for me, I think Saka has to play on the left side of that attack. I liked Mikel Arteta going for the 4-2-3-1 just because it didn't work too great yesterday. I do like that formation with Arsenal, and I'd much rather see that long term in the future with Saka on the left, Aubameyang as central striker, and I would say Pepe when he's back in the team. But unfortunately, it feels like it's going to be a while till Pepe's back in the team now after what happened yesterday. But Saka was great. He really was. He's such a good talent. There's a lot of things wrong with Arsenal at the moment, a lot of things to sort of worry about how things are going to progress over the next couple of years. But Bukayo Saka certainly isn't one of them. Arsenal very, very lucky to have a player of that quality in the team. Arsenal are hopeful on Saka that it's not too bad an injury, and there's also the injury to Willian. He got taken off yesterday at half time. Mikel Arteta saying it was a muscular problem. Didn't go further into what that problem was. Hasn't come out yet from Arsenal. I understand Arsenal will release a team news update ahead of that game in the Europa League on Thursday night. That will come out on Wednesday. That might be the first time we hear in terms of the severity of Saka and Willian's injuries. But certainly fingers crossed that Saka's isn't too bad because Arsenal need him. Right, Mikel Arteta. Tough times for Arteta. Certainly the toughest since he arrived here. There was some low points after he arrived last in December, but you could see the signs of progress. There were, plenty of wins. Goals were going in. Arsenal obviously won the FA Cup, which is fantastic. But now this is by far and away the most challenging period Arteta's had since he arrived in his first year at Arsenal. And he needs to find a solution to it, because if he doesn't, it's going to be a long old season for Arsenal, because they are certainly better defensively. I think they showed that again yesterday. And I think you've got to also add it to the fact that there was no Thomas Partey in midfield yesterday. There's no Mohamed El-Neni as well, so they're missing players as well. And the midfield is stronger than it was. But going forward, they've really got to solve this issue. It's a big problem for Mikel Arteta, and he has to solve it. How does he get more goals out of his players? How does he get more chances out of his players? Because unless he can find a way of doing that, and there has to be a way of doing it because they're not bad players, then Arsenal are really going to struggle this season. It's going to be a long old season because they're really turgid at the moment. It's really difficult to watch. And I know everyone talks about, they haven't got a creative player, bring back Mesut Ozil. But you look at players like teams like Spurs, and I know Spurs have got Harry Kane and Son, who are two world-class players in my view. But they don't really have that much creativity. I know Ndombele's a decent player and it was a nice ball for Son's goal against Manchester City at weekend, but they don't have, there's no Mesut Ozil there in that side. Mourinho at the moment, he's playing, two holding midfielders almost in Højbjerg and Ndombele, who's not absolutely bombing forward as a 10. Relying on the fullbacks to get forward when they can. You just got the forwards basically out there doing it for themselves, and that's what the kind of situation Arsenal find themselves in. So I don't necessarily think it's just a lack of creativity, a lack of number 10. I think the forwards have to do more. They have to work a little bit harder. But whatever it is, Mikel Arteta has to find a way of solving it because Arsenal can't continue in this rate of scoring. It's so poor. Like I said, it's been 8 hours nearly in the Premier League since they've scored a goal in open play. It's just a dreadful statistic, and that can't continue. I do think confidence is obviously a big issue. I think if Arsenal win a game, if they get themselves a couple of goals, I think you will see an improvement. It's no surprise to see a team who's struggling in front of goal to lack confidence, and that's what's happening at the moment. I think we've seen it with Aubameyang as well, who was pretty poor, I thought, yesterday. But yeah, it's a really important period now, these next couple of weeks for Mikel Arteta. He has to find a solution to it. He changed a few things up yesterday. Brought in Willock. He didn't have the best of games, but I like the fact that he was trying something a little bit different. It's going to be interesting on Thursday night in the Europa League against Molde. I'm really hoping we get to see Emil Smith-Rowe in that match. He scored for the under-23s again the other day. I really would like to see Smith-Rowe in that match on Thursday night and see if there's something that he can offer, because when you look at what Smith-Rowe brings, his running ability from deep, he certainly pops up. He knows how to score a goal. He pops up in the box. He gets forward. It could be a really interesting player for me under Mikel Arteta, and could be the kind of, you don't want to put a load of pressure on a kid to come in and rescue something for Arsenal, but he's certainly an option to add something that Arsenal perhaps lack. And I wouldn't want to see Willock taken out of the side straight away now as well. If you're going to put Willock in, you're going to do what you did last night, then you've got to stick with it for a few games, I think, rather than just throwing it out the window after one because it didn't quite work. So big problems for Mikel Arteta, and something he's going to have to solve in the coming days to try and get his team firing again, because they have to. They're 13th in the league now and they're falling behind. They need to start winning. They need to start closing the gap that's beginning to open up on the teams above them. I'm not talking about the title. I'm not talking about top 4 really. I'm just talking about even top 6 and just getting themselves back into the mix and get that winning feeling again, because it's so important. We'll be speaking to Mikel Arteta next on Wednesday ahead of that game against Molde in the Europa League. Like I said, we'll get the team news for that and all the other reaction of things that have gone on in the last couple of days. And I'll be back doing a video ahead of that match and after the press conference as well. And we'll hopefully have some more of a team news update with those injuries for Saka and Willian, whether Martinelli perhaps will be involved. I doubt Martinelli will be, in fact, but maybe perhaps Pablo Mari might be for the first time, and certainly see if Emil Smith-Rowe is in contention for that elusive first start of the season. Right, that's about it for today's video. Again, apologies for the lack of player ratings yesterday. Just as I said at the start, ran out of time, unfortunately. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll speak to you soon. Enjoy the start of your week.